So, hello and good morning, everyone. It is very nice to see everyone on site for our today's Tech Tuesday. Welcome to Go210. Go210 is a co-working space free for everyone. So you guys could organize and create events such as this. You could also record streaming or podcast if you ever want to. Everyone is welcome to be a member and participate. So for our today's event, I would welcome our host for today's Tech Tuesday.
Thank you. And again, very much welcome to all of you for this Tech Tuesday with Ericsson, whether it be here or online on YouTube. Tech Tuesday is, as some of you may know by now, a collaboration between Linköping Science Park, Combitech, Sectra, Ericsson, SICK, and Nira Dynamics. This event is held around every third Tuesday. My name is Frida Enebro, and I work at Linköping Science Park as a communication and events officer. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them afterwards. And those of you who are online, just write your questions in the chat and we will ask them for you. This presentation will be recorded and put on our website later on. Today, connected digital tools help us handle countless daily chores and obstacles. But how will these services evolve going forward? Anders Erlandsson and Sarah Kenlind from Ericsson Consumer IndustryLab will present the trend spotting report, Life in a Climate Impacted Future. Give them a big hand.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm then Anders, and yes. So we're going to be sharing the presentation. I'll do the first half, and Sarah will do the last half. But before we start with that, I hope you all noticed, including you online, that there is a QR code and there is a number code that you need to enter into your smartphones at the website menti.com, because even though you can't ask me any questions during my presentation, I'm going to ask you questions, and Sarah is going to ask you questions. So in order for this to be fully interactive, that direction anyway, please take a note of this one immediately, and very soon we will come to the first question. And the number will be repeated. If you didn't have time to do it now, it will come again. But if you do it already now, you're going to be super prepared. So, life in a climate-impacted world or in climate-impacted future. What does that mean? Well, basically, it means a world that in the time frame of 2030-ish, and assuming that we will reach the type of targets that is stipulated in the Paris agreements, meaning sort of 1.5 degrees raise in temperatures. If we can keep it roughly around that, that still doesn't mean that we're safe. That doesn't mean that everything will work just as before. There will be a lot of things that will be different. And what we're talking about here then is how could technology help us live in that type of world? So it's not a climate disaster world, but it's also not the world of today. It's something that is worse than today, but not the absolute worst. But before we start with the insights, we wanted to share just a short video outlining what we do at Ericsson Consumer IndustryLab. So let's watch this little mini video.
Since 1995, we've been asking questions, reaching out to all corners of society and business, listening to your thoughts on a shifting digital landscape, to understand what changes are around the corner. We saw phones break free, get smart, and give us the world. Soon, connectivity can take us to extraordinary places. We started to shop from the comfort of our homes. Before long, e-commerce can invite us to touch, taste, smell. We watched entertainment get bigger by getting smaller. In the near future, content can merge with our own realities. We witnessed the entire workplace evolve. Now, as digitalization increases, so can flexibility. we committed to making our industry more sustainable. Tomorrow, our aim is for everyone to benefit from connectivity, quarter of a century of curiosity, of cutting-edge research, exploring how we connect with one another. We'll continue to seek answers on how humanity and technology can move forward together. But there will always be one big question. Where are we going next?
We're basically doing research that isn't fully technical, but rather the impact on humans and enterprises and businesses, and how technology such as 5G and other connectivity and so forth, how that can change lives. So we have colleagues, because we're part of Ericsson Research, so we have a lot of colleagues that do the deep technical research, but we're doing the human angle on that research. And one of those pieces of research is then this particular study. This is the 12th year, actually, that we're doing the 10 consumer trends. And as you can see, we've covered a lot of different cities around the world. And in fact, we interviewed over 15,000 people across all these different cities. And as you can see, they're all major metropolitan cities, so no small cities. But so in Sweden, we have Stockholm, we have Oslo, and then in Africa we have Johannesburg, Cairo. In Asia we have several cities as well. So we basically cover all continents. And age, the youngest in the survey is 15 years old. The oldest is 69, and they're not just typical people, but rather people that are fairly much early adopters, meaning that they're using either augmented reality, AR, or virtual reality, VR, or a virtual digital assistant, like Alexa, for example. So if you're using any of those, or if you have sort of a stated intent to start using them soon, then you're also part of this sample. And we queried them on a lot of different concept areas, and the 10 ones that we're going to talk about today are then the top 10 ones. So life in a climate impacted future. Well, I guess several of us, maybe I can query you already now. How many of you here in the room are concerned about the future from an environmental point of view? Please raise your hands. Yeah. And in this study, more than half of this sample expressed worries about the negative impact because of global warming. But they also saw connectivity and digitalization and internet services as important tools to help solve some of those problems. And in fact, 59% of these early adopters said that, yeah, technology is going to be crucial to solve at least some of these challenges. And a whopping 99% of all these surveyed early adopters said that they expect to use at least one. Oh, did it die? Yeah, okay, thanks, Sarah. I'll keep track. At least one of these concepts that we're going to talk about today. So we're going to talk about all these 10. I won't go through them all because we'll cover them, but we'll look at smart water, we'll look at cost cutting, unbroken connection, climate cheaters. A highlight for that one. But first, do the first one, cost cutters. So what might we mean with cost cutters? Well, actually, when we asked these early adopters about their expectations, they saw a huge danger or risk that there will be higher cost for many things, for food, for electricity or energy, and travels in the future. And of course, all of us who are experiencing the inflation and all that, we're already experiencing part of that, and it's going to get worse. And in fact, 63% of all these early adopters expect or worry about this higher cost of living is going to be massive in the future. But also, 82% believe that we could have tools, such as, for example, electricity consumption monitors that help you keep track of your stuff at home. So if you forgot to switch a fan off or the stove maybe or something else, your personal monitor will keep track of that and to help you to switch it off. So you're not wasting energy in vain, so to say. And another really interesting one was when it comes to food, because I mentioned food as well, was that they also 3/4 expect to have a tool, like an electronic assistant really, in your phone or somewhere else, that helps you create recipes based on the content that you have in the fridge or that is sort of cheap to buy at the moment. And even just as many said, there's going to be tools that help you and inform you that all of a sudden, oh, now there is items that are getting close to have to be thrown away because they're getting too old in the store. So you can go and buy them now at a discounted price, just to save both food resources and save money. So I mentioned food and I mentioned energy, but what about a quiz for you guys? So the question is, how many foresee that owning an electric car will become cheaper because they can be used as batteries to balance the local power grid? And now we have to switch to, so you got the question in advance a little bit there. Now we're swapping to Mentimeter, and we're gonna do some, let's see if I can find my, here we go, mouse. So we have 15, 16 players ready. How many are we in here? I think we're more than 15. See, and we're people online as well, because they can also, everyone can play. So I'm gonna wait a little bit longer. So the code is 46916768. And the web address is menti.com. Can we see if we can get to 20 before we start? 18. 3, 19, 2, 1. Okay, I'm pressing enter now. We got 19. Okay, so the faster you answer, the more points you get. So how many foresee that owning electric cars will become cheaper as they can be used as batteries to balance the local power grid? Was it 66%? Was it 76%? Or was it 86%? And again, it's these early adopters that answer this question. So how many of them? 66, 76, or 86? Oh, even Steven, look at that. Yeah, 6 got it right. 76% of these early adopters expect that you can save money this way. There we go. So of course, being Ericsson, we like to talk about connectivity. So let's talk about connectivity and the need for unbroken connectivity or connections. And of course, if you take this poor lady sitting on the roof of her flooded house, yeah, being able to call someone and ask for help would be tremendously valuable. And actually 4 out of 10 say that they would personally subscribe to service that gave them sort of emergency access to satellites if all other systems were down. How many of you would pay extra to get that type of relief or benefit? Get access to cellular on your normal phone? No one. Okay, yeah, you don't expect to be flooded. Okay. But also even more interesting is that 80% expect there will be services like a smart signal locator, so that, for example, if you're lost in the woods or lost somewhere without coverage, this locator will help you, tell you, well, you need to go that way, and then that will be the fastest way for you to get to a place where they have coverage. I don't think it will help her much, but in the forest, for example. So trend number 3, we call it no rush mobility. I guess if we think about the evolution of our society so far, we're just talking about things that go faster and faster, and everything, including life, goes faster and faster. But maybe we're actually heading towards a situation where it starts slowing down, or at least shifts gear somehow, in a way that we're, instead of just adjusting to the clock and the time plan, we adjust to other factors, such as when is electricity cheaper, when it will be more sort of affordable for me to go somewhere, because that way I can save money. And I guess to some extent, some of us are doing that already when we're looking at SJ and their travels, which train has the lower price, and then you choose to go on a more inconvenient time slot just because it's cheaper. It's a little bit the same type of thinking here. And we're having sort of 41% of these early adopters that are saying that being able to have an app that enables them to find out when they can charge their cars at the lowest price, that will be something that they expect themselves to do, having that kind of app. And 68% say that they could see themselves planning activities using scheduled or sort of a scheduler that optimizes their usage of electricity and energy to cut those costs. And I think we have another question for you guys. So the question, how many urban early adopters expect to buy a connected event ticket that flexibly adapts to the event time when they can take part of it? Here we go. 13. Yeah, let's wait a little longer. 14, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yeah, let's go. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. So the faster you answer, the more points you get. How many expect to buy a connected event ticket that flexibly adapts to when you can take part? So Celine Dion will sing when you want her to. Was it 1 in 5, 1 in 4, or 1 in 3 that expected that? Oh, look at that. Brilliant. Good. 1 in 3 expect that to happen. So then we come to an interesting name, SAI fekeepers, or safe keepers maybe, using AI to keep us safe, artificial intelligence. Because AI could actually help us provide services that protect us as consumers during an increasingly unpredictable and unstable weather situation. And as you can see, there are very similar numbers also here when it comes to, for example, this one I think is quite interesting. Almost half of these early adopters expect to have sort of a personal weather tracking or weather sort of disaster app that will give you personal information about when you need when the danger is coming for you. So this system will help you as an individual. And 1 in 3 are also talking about being prepared to buy a weather intelligent extreme weather jacket that includes extra sort of heating capabilities. It includes a life vest and even sort of communication capabilities. So it will immediately communicate with the authorities if you run into danger. So 1 in 3. And we're kind of staying in the area that we talked about before. So about time. When we talk about the fact that we have a situation where we're bound by the watch, by the clock, by these time schedules that we all have. But maybe the concepts of weekends and doing things the way we've always done it might change because we have to adapt to how different parts of by how when energy is available, when energy is cheap, and when food is available and cheap. So all this could actually change how we work as well. So 7 out of 10 foresee offices with air conditioning systems that track each individual and adapts so that that individual has an optimal sort of temperature around himself or herself in the office, both when it comes to cooling and heating. And I don't know how many of you have ever experienced having colleagues where some say, oh, it's too warm in the office, and some others say, oh, it's too cold in the office. Now, this is solving that problem as well as making sure that we're not wasting energy by giving everyone too cold or everyone too warm. So 70 out of 10 expect that to happen. And just as many, or even a little bit more, 72% expect companies to offer AI services for their employees to help them plan their commute and plan their tasks and their resources in order to minimize their carbon footprint. So not just giving them an AI in general, but actually giving them an AI that helps them do the things that they always do, but do it in a smart, climate-friendly way. And I think that means we're now on your first trend, Sarah.
It's smart water, and already today more than half of the world population don't have regular access to fresh, clean water. And according to UNICEF, around 4 billion people experience severe scarcity to water at least 1 month per year. So I think by the looks of it, our situation is not going to get any better. So, which is why the consumers, they anticipate that there will be these smart water services where you can conserve and reuse the water to somehow handle this issue of water scarcity. So, interestingly, 46%, almost half of these early adopters, they believe that in their household they will be using these smart water catchers where you can install them on the roofs, on the balconies, or in the windows, where they can intelligently open when it rains, catch the water, clean it for future use. And oh, sorry, that went too quickly. And also already today we do witness that in some places around the world they ration the water, and it is believed that by these respondents, that 64% of them to be precise, that there will be these digitally regulated water allowances for all the individuals in the world in future. So it's probably good to have an eye on how we consume our water. The Enerconomy. So right now we're living in this era where the access to, oh, sorry, I am covering the, sorry, I just noticed. Where the access to electricity is becoming more and more expensive, and which is why that these early adopters, they really would benefit, and they are very open to the idea of technology helping them with energy saving and energy sharing. And when it comes to energy saving technologies, for instance, certain mobile app batteries that you can use at home to help you balance your energy use or reduce the costs. And when it comes to energy sharing, interestingly, some of these respondents, a lot of them, they believe that energy can be used as a source of even currency in future. And you can, for instance, have certain apps where you can use those apps to pay for your goods and services with kilowatts from electricity, or also that you can even make money with your electricity if you, for instance, they believe 74% of these respondents that their AI can enable them to control the small solar panels that they have at home or micro wind turbines at home to generate electricity and then sell it at a profit. So there is probably some hope for that as well. This eighth trend is quite close to my own heart too. Less is more digital. There's this, I think a lot of people like me may share this sentiment of having a lot of guilt after amassing shopping splurge. And right now, most of these consumptions that we do and all these purchases that we do, it takes place with physical goods. Even though we already do have virtual goods consumption going around, it's not that common yet. It usually occurs in the gaming world, where users make certain in-app purchases for their inside the game gaming platform, or in certain social media platforms. We see users buying clothes for their avatars or other accessories for them. So we still don't see that being a common practice everywhere around us. But let's fast forward to 2030s and beyond, a much warmer world, and there it's going to be much more challenging to produce physical products, and it's going to be obviously more expensive and even socially criticized to buy a lot of things. So one assumption, one likely trend is that there will be these digital product replacements being the status makers instead of the physical products that we now use. So several interesting points here based on these findings. 64% believe that there will be these connected AI devices that will make you think twice about making certain purchases by perhaps showing you the visibility of what you already have, and maybe reminding you, are you sure you want to buy that? You already have something in a similar color or similar style, or by even questioning this whole decision that you're making. And also 75% believe that even when it comes to product packaging and product information provided, there is a lot of opportunities for having resource efficient solutions to reduce that environmental impact by, for instance, using AR and VR devices to eliminate a lot of branding and packaging information and substituting it with digital alternatives of that. So it's time, I think, for our next question. So what do you guys think is the percentage of early adopters who would personally use shopping apps that suggest digital alternatives instead of the physical one? So if you like a t-shirt, perhaps buy the online digital version of it for your avatar instead of the, yeah. Cheater.
So it looks like GE is leading, closely followed by Lynn, but two more questions before. And then also close by Eva. So here comes the new question. You can just click the pad when we are getting a little bit higher than 16.
Shall we go with it?
And the answer is
34.
34.
There are not perhaps as many yet, but
still hesitant to the value of digital. Yeah.
Okay, so how do we go back to Oh, okay. So now we're back to this. So our ninth trend, Natureverse. Being in nature, research has shown it, and I think we feel it ourselves too, that being in nature, be it green spaces like forests or blue spaces like lakes and rivers, they help us both in terms of physical well-being and also mental well-being. But I think we who live in Sweden are both privileged and to somewhat a little even spoiled, because majority of us have quite easy access to nature. But let's think about those living in urban areas, big metropolitans and urban areas, as this whole continued climate change effects are going forward, and there might be these potential travel limitations. There is a chance, and there is a hope that they can substitute that lack of accessibility to nature in other ways. So since experiencing this nature for them would probably be more difficult, it is thought that in 2030s for urban dwellers, perhaps nature would be more of an experience rather than a location, and which is why 39% of these early adopters, they believe that they would personally want to use a virtual travel service where they can experience being in nature reserves in real time while being at home. For instance, if you go to a safari from your living room, or if you experience swimming in a lake only with use of minimal water in your backyard. Another area is that these early adopters believe may be beneficial with the help of technology is to bridge this learning experience gap between those who have easy access to nature and those who haven't. So 76% of them, they believe that there might be there will be AR and VR classrooms where where students can learn about being in nature without actually being there, which will of course reduce our carbon footprint as well. So moving on to our last and a little bit mischievous climate trend, which is climate cheaters. So the consumers, these early adopters, believe that they will find some sort of way to bypass the inconveniences and higher prices, which we may be facing due to restrictor environmental regulations and possible rationing of energy and water. And when we say that, it's important to keep in mind that those who those who want to cheat these climate restrictions do not deny the fact that climate change is a reality. In fact, 95% of all the respondents, these early adopters, whether they consider themselves as climate cheaters or not, they believe that climate change is a reality. However, the difference comes in the sense that of how much they discount the negative effect of climate change for themselves. So they don't think their life will be as worse off, well, as the climate change effects shows its consequences. So based on these findings, there are quite interesting takes. 52%, over half of the respondents, they believe that there will be certain online hacking apps where you will enable to tap into the energy or water of your neighbor and use that illegally, or that they also think that since before mentioning the next figure, already now we do see certain restrictions in energy use and temperature use. For instance, in 2022 in Spain, they have placed a restriction for the heating of public buildings to be maximum 19 degrees, and the cooling of it to be minimum 27 degrees. So those restrictions are already taking place, and probably it will get more in future. So which is why that in line with those restrictions, 71% of these respondents, these consumers, they believe that they can manipulate their home air conditioning or their cooling system at home to adjust it to the desired temperature that they want, even though there are official restrictions on those temperatures. So it seems like, yeah, people always try to find a way. And let's actually look into our next question. We already discussed that. So what share of climate cheaters believe that their daily life will be better due to climate change?
missing one. 18, 19.
Oh, I have
yes.
20.
Okay. Let's go.
So, what share of climate cheaters believe that their own life will become better due to climate change? 1 in 4, 1 in 5, or 1 in 6 people? Correct number is yes, 1 in 4 people, which is quite interesting observation. I believe this means 25% of climate cheaters thinking that their life will be better in future, and this contrasts with only 5% of climate non-cheaters who think that way. So something for us to reflect on.
Yeah, amongst you in the audience, how many think that your personal life by 2030 will be better because of climate change? No one. Yeah.
Yes. So how do we go
if
back
you
to?
click that arrow.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
So we will.
there we go. So we have to leave it
First,
leaderboard.
yes.
Yes. Yeah. It looks like.
Okay.
We have a winner.
Nice.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
you.
nice.
Congratulations. We have one more question, but
Yeah.
before that,
Wait,
I think.
sorry. I
Yeah,
ended
yeah.
it. I went
we
twice. Yeah.
Yeah. Where we go? We have one more question, so let's do it again. Here we go. Yes. So we want your feedback on these insights. What's your reflections on them? So this is a word cloud. So basically, you enter the words that you think about with regards to these insights, and they will appear magically on this board. And you can add as many or as few as you want. Interesting.
We got that.
Yes. Hopeful, curious. Wake up. New ways of living. Exciting. Excited. Hopeful. If more people enter the same word, that word gets bigger. Just as a hint. Somewhat concerning. Yeah. I agree. Outlandish. Curious. Maybe. Offline. Thoughtful. Predictable. A lot of different words here. Specific. Yeah.
Missing, non-connected.
Yeah. Offline. Yeah. Just a few more moments. It's always interesting to see how you react. Yeah. Yeah, I think let's stop there, and then it's, I guess, time for Q&A.
Do we have any questions?
Thank you. Think so for the presentation. You mentioned that you've been doing this for 12 years. Do you follow up anything on, like, for 12 years ago, these were the trends? How did it actually happen?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. We get it quite a lot. So I have to live with the fact that I open up for that. Yeah, so what we, of course, it's different themes every year. And it's worth mentioning that we're not the ones coming up with the results. It's actually the consumers themselves. So they're really sort of shaping where we go with it. But having said that, I think yes, we tend to see that quite a bit of what we have sort of looked at in the past years do happen. When it comes to things that are supposed to happen within the near term, consumers tend to expect that to happen quicker than it actually does happen. But also, likewise, when we ask about things, well, what about things happening in the next 10 years? Then consumers tend to think that will happen earlier, or rather, those things actually do happen earlier than they expect. So short-term things take longer than expected, and long-term things go faster than expected, as a general rule of thumb. But of course, we're not right with everything. There are always misses, obviously.
And I don't think we had any questions in the chat either. No. Then thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you so much to all of you joining us today. The next Tech Tuesday is on the 4th of April with Nira Dynamics, and they will talk about stateful stream processing with Apache Flink. Please sign up under events on our web page if you want to participate. Thank you. Bye.